Theory of Perpetual Armament, The Economic Industrial Totality of Modern War, by Andrew J. Rebar. Modern warfare, as practiced by Western civilization and perfected through centuries of European conflicts, colonial expansions, and industrial revolutions, cannot be understood simply as the contest of armies, nor merely as a clash of ideologies. It is, instead, the full extension of a civilization's internal structure, a reflection of its economic model, and more importantly, the purpose of that model. This theory proposes that capitalism, in its modern, industrialized, mass-mediated form, is not a detached economic system, but the central nervous system of perpetual warfare, a machine for the unification, manipulation, and production of human beings into war-making entities. Western civilization did not simply adopt capitalism, it became capitalism, and capitalism, in turn, became war by other means. The essential feature of the Western model is this: the reduction of the individual to a unit of economic function whose identity, purpose, and value are defined entirely by their role in production and exchange. This creates a civilization unified behind a single artificial idea: to live is to earn is to exist. Once this idea is internalized, a society is primed for war, not in the traditional sense, but in the mass industrial sense. All human effort is converted, willingly or not, into energy for the system, into factories, codes, supply chains, systems of control, psychological conditioning, and ultimately, weapons. War is no longer a deviation from peace, it is the default output of the machine. Every factory, every invention, every school and screen and algorithm becomes a tool in the total war economy. Once the population is economically unified, it can be mass harnessed, its talents, fears, and ambitions directed toward the singular goal of overcoming an enemy that must exist for the system to justify its own motion. Thus, the enemy is perpetual. The system must grow perpetually to overcome it, and the weapons must evolve perpetually to match the scale of that imagined or real enemy. This is the engine of history post-industrial revolution. This is why capitalist societies do not collapse from exhaustion, but from overproduction, internal saturation, and the need to externalize violence. The capitalist model, once adopted into the heart of a civilization, becomes existentially dependent on external conflict. Without an enemy, without the imagined other, it collapses into chaos, depression, or civil war. Therefore, the creation and maintenance of an eternal enemy is not optional. It is the operating principle. The Cold War, the global war on terror, the war on drugs, the economic wars, the AI arms race, the new war against nature and climate. Each conflict is a mirror, reflecting back the system's own internal need to justify its existence. No society built on this model can face this reality. To do so would be to admit that all its labor, all its education, all its dreams have been converted into weapons for a war that never ends, because it is needed to keep the machine running. So the lie must be maintained that capitalism is peace, that progress is good, that growth is salvation, that more is always better, that enemies are real and ever present, that war is unfortunate but necessary. To expose the structure is to destroy the illusion, and no modern civilization dares to do this. Modern war is not a mistake. It is the inevitable product of a civilization whose people are trained from birth to equate value with productivity and life with competition. The capitalist system does not serve war. It is war, a civilizational doctrine of eternal struggle for supremacy through production, absorption, and domination. The only way to break this cycle is not to fight better, but to redefine what it means to live.